The first man came running and said the oxen were gone and the field hands were dead. He was still talking when the second one got there and said fire had come down and burned up the sheep and the shepherds. That one was still talking when the third arrived. 3 raiding parties had taken the camels and put the men to the sword. And the third one was still talking when the fourth walked in. The fourth had come to tell him that his 10 children were eating together at the oldest brother's house when a wind came out of the desert and brought the whole house down, and that none of them were left. Look at how that is written, because it is not an accident. Not one of the 4 lets the last one finish. There was not a single minute between one piece of news and the next. He never even got time to take in the first one. This is the most uncomfortable book in the Bible, and that is exactly why we are going to tell it. It is not going to explain to you why good people suffer, and not because I do not want to, because the book does not explain it either. 42 chapters, and the question it opens with never gets answered. What it does do, and almost nobody mentions this, is make it very clear who spoke wrongly in the whole story. And it was not the man who shouted. His wife spoke first. She said, "Are you still holding on to this? Curse God and die?" That line has been used for centuries to paint her as a bad woman. 2 things are worth saying. The first is that the text does not condemn her. She shows up, says that, and disappears. Nobody punishes her. Nobody corrects her. The second matters more. They were her 10 children too. She had lost exactly what he had lost on the same day, with the difference that the book does not give her a single chapter. What that line is not cruelty. It is somebody who cannot stand watching the person in front of them suffer any longer and would rather it just ended. And then the 3 friends arrived. They came from different places, and they agreed to come together. That already says something. Nobody showed up on his own to look good. They organized it. When they saw him from a distance, they did not know him. He was so changed that they had to look twice to be sure it was him. And what they did next is the best thing anybody does in the entire book. They wept, they tore their clothes, they threw dust over their heads, and they sat down on the ground with him. 7 days and 7 nights, without saying one word to him. The text explains why they stay quiet, and the reason is exact, because they saw that his pain was very great. Think about what that is. 7 days, not 7 awkward minutes at the door, not one afternoon, not a text message. A whole week sitting on the floor next to somebody who has lost everything, saying nothing, not fixing it, not giving advice, not putting a deadline on when he should be over it. Nobody does that. Nobody has 7 days. And it is the one thing in this book that absolutely anybody can copy. When people remember Job's friends, they remember them as the bad guys of the story. And for 7 days, they were the best thing that happened to him. The first one to break the silence was Job. And what he said was brutal. He cursed the day he was born. He said he wished that day would be wiped off the calendar, that the night he was conceived would be swallowed by the dark. He asked why he had not died at birth. Notice one thing, because it is the key to the whole book. Job curses the day he was born. He does not curse God. He is furious, he is broken, and he says all of it out loud with nothing filtered, but he does not do the one thing his wife had suggested. And then the friends started talking. Carefully at first, with that softness people use when they are about to tell you something you do not want to hear, but they think is good for you. Their argument, once you strip out the poetry, fits in 3 sentences. God is just. God punishes the guilty and rewards the innocent. You are being punished. The conclusion does not even need saying. It is a perfect piece of reasoning. There is not one flaw in the logic, and it is completely false. And it works that way because it is not built to comfort Job. It is built so that they can sleep at night. Because if all of this can happen to a good man who did nothing, then it can happen to them too, and nobody can live with that. It is far easier to think their friend must have done something. which is why, as the book goes on, they get worse. They start out hinting, and they end up accusing. One of them invents actual crimes. He tells Job he stripped the clothes off the naked, that he refused water to the thirsty, that he sent widows away with nothing. None of that ever happened. He is making it up. And he is not doing it out of malice. He is doing it because by that point it is easier for him to believe his lifelong friend is a criminal than to accept that suffering sometimes is not deserved. That is the line to take away from this part. They would rather invent crimes for him than admit they did not understand any of it. It is worth stopping here to ask what Job is actually asking for, because it is not what it looks like. He does not ask for the livestock back. He does not ask for his health back. And not once does he ask for his children back, maybe because he knows that is not something you get back. What he asks for is a hearing. He wants to be allowed to make his case. He talks like a man going to court. He wants to lay out his argument. He wants to be told what he is charged with. He wants a verdict with reasons attached. And in the middle of it, he says something that stops you. He asks for an arbitrator. Somebody who could put one hand on him and one hand on God and stand between them. He knows the two sides are not evenly matched, and he says so. Along the way, he says things that, if you heard them in a church today, would have somebody standing up to shut him down. He says God is tearing him apart for no reason, that he mocks the misery of the innocent, that he cries out and gets no answer, that he would rather die than pretend he agrees. And now the detail almost nobody points out. Nobody deleted those lines. Somebody copied this book by hand, generation after generation, for thousands of years. Any one of those copyists could have softened a line. Not one of them did. They are all still there, inside the book, with no footnote apologizing for them. And for anybody going through something like this, that is worth more than any comfort. It means this book is not asking you to fake it, that you can be furious and still be inside, that you can say out loud that none of this makes any sense, and the sentence stays written down. Job never once pretended he was fine with it, and that is exactly why, at the end, he comes out of it better than the ones who did. And after 30-something chapters of arguing, God speaks. He speaks out of a whirlwind, and what he says is one of the strangest things written down anywhere. He does not mention anything that has happened. He does not explain why. He does not apologize. He does not say it was a test, or that it was for something, or that there was a plan. About Job's question, not one word, not one. What he does for 4 chapters straight is ask, "Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Have you ever once told the morning to come? Have you been inside the storehouses of the snow? Do you know when the mountain goats give birth? Who feeds the raven when its young are crying from hunger?" Around 60 questions, one after another, and not one of them is about Job. And here is what I find strangest of all, and it almost never gets talked about. Most of those questions are about things that concern nobody. God tells him about rain falling on a desert where no man lives, about the ostrich, careless with her own eggs and still faster than a horse, about the wild donkey that laughs at the noise of the city and has never heard a driver shout, about places where nobody is watching. It is not an answer, it is a change of scale. Job had organized the entire world around one question, why me? And what he gets is a tour of an enormous universe, running, full of things that exist without his permission and without an explanation for anyone. And what Job says back is just as strange. He does not say, "I understand now." He does not say, "Now it adds up." He says, "I had heard of you with my ears, but now my eye sees you." He still does not know why. Nobody has told him, and nobody is going to for the rest of the book. What changed is something else. He stopped talking to himself. This book does not hand you an explanation. It hands you a presence. And then it stops there, without softening it, and lets everybody decide for themselves whether that is enough. And then, when it looks like it is over, comes the thing this whole video rests on. God turns to the three friends, and he tells them he is angry with them, all three, because they have not spoken rightly about him, the way his servant Job has. Read that again, slowly. The man who shouted, who cursed the day he was born, who said God mocks the misery of the innocent, who demanded a hearing. That is the one God calls, 4 separate times, my servant. My servant. The ones who spent the entire book defending God, explaining his reasons, and fitting their friend's pain into a system that added up. Those are the ones he tells off. And there is one last turn, almost cruel in how exact it is. God tells them to go to Job and to have Job pray for them. The ones who came to comfort him end up needing him to forgive them. People talk about the ending a lot, and usually badly. Yes, Job gets back twice what he had: livestock, land, years of life. But look at the numbers carefully. He had 10 children, and at the end he has 10 children. Not 20, 10. The book does not double the one thing that cannot be doubled. The ones born later do not replace the ones who died that day, and the text does not pretend otherwise. That restraint is the reason this book is still being read 4,000 years later. And now the thing this video can actually give you, which is not an explanation but is the most useful thing in the whole book. Somebody you know is going through something like this, maybe right now. The book does not tell you what to say, it tells you how long to stay quiet. The friends did it right for 7 days. They came from far away. They agreed to come together. They sat on the floor down at his level. And they said nothing because they saw that his pain was very great. They ruined it the second they started explaining. Anything you say to comfort somebody that has a because, inside it is on the friend's side. Everything happens for a reason. God knows what he is doing. Something good will come out of this. There has to be a purpose. Those are the three friends' speeches with different words, and they are exactly what the end of the book points at and calls speaking wrongly. What that book approves of is much harder to do and costs nothing to say. Show up, sit down, and stay quiet for as long as it takes.